All right, everyone, this is Josh from East West Healing. Today I want to talk about you're on thyroid medication, it's not working, what do you do, and possibly why. But before we jump in, don't forget to like this video, show us a little support. Subscribe to our channel, show us a little bit more love, and hit that notification button so every single week when we put out a video, you get notified. Let's jump in. Well, first I want to say that I'm not a doctor. I don't play doctor. And everything I'm saying in this video is for educational purposes always. And you should always consult with your doctor. Let's go. So here's the thing. A lot of times when people are put on medication and they don't need it, right? Why? Because TSH is only being tested. They're not testing free T3 and free T4. Doctors will say if a TSH is high, you have hypothyroidism. If a TSH is low, you have hypothyroidism. Unfortunately, it's not enough. It's not enough. It'll be like taking your tire pressure and saying you need a new engine, right? We don't have enough information or even close enough information to make that decision. And in my opinion, to make that recommendation just on TSH is very risky and very reckless. So you should always get a second opinion or run a full panel on your own. Go online, go to Ultra Labs, go to Private MD. There's so many lab companies online that you can run your own thyroid panels to look at TSH, free T3 uptake, free T3, free T4, TP, all these different things. And it'll cost you, $55, $60. And then there's always coupons. So definitely check those out because you need to know what's going on. And if you really need the medication, and if you're on it, to really find what's, how you're progressing, where you're going, and what changes you need to make in your life and nutrition. And this is the most common thing. So let me break it down. A lot of the times when you're taking a medication and it's not working, number one, the first reason is you might not need it. And that's very common because as you've seen in the two videos that we have already on, functional hypothyroidism and thyroid inflammation, a lot of the times people with underlying adrenal issues, people with excess cortisol production, blocking thyroid hormone production, or conversion in the liver, people with copper deficiencies, right? They're not stimulating TRH to stimulate TSH. People with selenium deficiencies, people with chronic inflammation binding up receptor sites. Chronic inflammation will drive down TSH and T3, T4. So all these different things, they create the illusion of a thyroid issue because you have the symptoms. You have this kind of lab that might look perfect or might look a little off. We always think if we take thyroid medication, it's gonna be the answer. The problem is if A, B, and C is how you got here and you take a medication, how is that gonna change anything? It's not because you have not changed anything. And this is why a lot of the times thyroid medication doesn't work, even if you need it. So number one, you might not need it. You need to dive a little bit deeper or work with someone that can help you work through that. Number two, it's possibly the dose. And what I find is with medications and doctors and what I've seen over 22 years is they'll put you on a dose, they'll test you in a month based on those labs, they'll increase the dose, based on those labs again, they increase the dose. You do the dance as I call it. And the question is this, or we have to look at it and say, in a month, if I haven't changed anything and I've taken a dose and it hasn't worked and they increase it, how do we expect it to even work the next month and the next month? It's not going to because once again, you haven't changed how you're living. You haven't changed how you're eating, right? So we can't expect change when we're not creating change. Number three, it's really, we're not creating a lifestyle. And this goes back to supporting number one and number two. We're not creating a lifestyle to support the medication coming in. Or we're not creating a lifestyle with food and our habits and behaviors to support the production, to support the conversion, to support the usage of thyroid hormone in the cell itself. And this is where our RTN method really comes into play. Restoration thyroid nutrition method. For people that aren't on medication, people that are on medication, people that have lots of inflammation or adrenal issues or this illusion of a thyroid issue, it does not matter. It'll help you create that foundation physiologically to reduce the stress, reduce the inflammation, right? To free up thyroid hormone conversion, to reduce the HPA stress so we can actually produce thyroid hormones and convert them. So we can use it in the cell. So we don't chelate minerals so we can produce it and convert it, right? And then when we're reducing inflammation, we free up all those thyroid receptor sites. Then with what we eat and when we're eating during the day to meet our needs slowly over time, what we're doing is we're paying off our debt now. right? We're taking the burden off the adrenals to support, or I should say, provide the thyroid of fuel to burn. Because remember, the adrenals regulate the availability of fuel. The thyroid regulates the burning of that fuel. So there's not enough fuel coming in to meet your needs, the thyroid's going to have no fuel to burn. So when we do that, we meet our needs, the adrenals kind of back off, we supply the fuel, the thyroid has the fuel, now we're producing energy. And you have to remember this, doctors don't treat people, they treat labs. When's the last time you saw your doctor and they said, hey, how's life? How's stress? Let's talk about it. Have you made any changes? Possibly what could be leading to this altered change in medication, but all they do is look at the lab because that's what they treat, and they change your medication, try to manipulate your physiology. The problem is what's really manipulating your physiology is the stress in your life, how you're living, how you're sleeping, how you're working out, how you're eating, when you're eating, etc. These are the things we need to focus on, and they don't ask you those questions. So you have to ask yourself those questions and be honest with yourself, because if you make these changes, if you're on medication, it's going to support the medication. And maybe you don't even need the dose you're on. If you create that support mechanism, you actually might be able to get by on less of a dose, right? So you have to remember that. You have to remember that thyroid hormone is energy. And most people are in an energy deficit. Most people have underlying adrenal issues. Most people have underlying mineral, deficiencies from chronic stress. Most people have underlying inflammation. We're not meeting our needs. We're not meeting our energy needs to get through our day, right? We're doing diets where we eat less. We're cutting out foods because we're intolerant to them. We're afraid of foods because they're going to make us fat and cause diabetes. We overtrain, we overwork, we go, push. We don't meet our energy needs because everyone is so focused on weight loss versus health. And in the paradigm where the formula for weight loss is do more, eat less, that'll cause weight loss, right? Sure it does. It's catabolism, but at the expense of damaging your metabolism. And when you do that, and you're in this energy deficient state and you throw thyroid hormone, it's actually going to cause more stress in the system. And for some people, this will drive TSH down even more. So the thyroid hormone that you're taking that you think is supposed to help you starts working against you, right? So what do? Well, first of all, talk to your doctor. Talk to your doctor and say, should we run more panels? If you can't do it, can I do some on my own and we can look at them together? Number 2, talk to your doctor and say, you know what, I'd like to wait 2 or 3 months so I can make some changes in my life before we retest and before we increase the medication again. And 3, work with someone. Work with someone. If I need help with the plumbing in my house, I call someone because I can't do it. Most of us have the pieces to the healing puzzle, but we need help putting them together, right? And that's where people like me and Jeannie come into play, because we can help you nutritionally, not play with your medications and not even say you should be on it or shouldn't be on it, but really support you where you are, help you make lifestyle changes, right? Help you make nutritional changes to support your system, to support thyroid hormone production, thyroid hormone conversion, the usage of this thyroid hormone in the cell, to free up receptor sites, reduce inflammation. So now, even if you do need the medication, you have the foundation to support it. And this is why most people, when they're put on thyroid medication, don't feel a thing and sometimes feel worse because they don't have the foundation. Or the doctor increases their dose and they have anxiety and heart palpitations and they can't sleep. Why? They don't have the foundation. It's fuel coming in to a deficient system. And when people have thyroid issues, they have hypoglycemia. They have issues storing glycogen. They have issues storing energy. They have issues storing minerals in the liver. So if you start adding more fuel in the system, in a deficient system, what's going to happen? It's like putting a nitrous tank on a Kia with 232,000 miles on it. You hit that nitrous button, the car is going to blow up. It doesn't have the foundation and the system to support it, where if you put it in, let's say, a sports car per se, right? So think about these things. It's about creating change. It's not always about increasing your medication and chasing the chasing the effect. It's saying, what are the causes in my life that have got me here? What are the things I need to change to create change physiologically to support the medication that I'm taking in? If you want to learn more about our approach, we've got a lot of free information below in the description. We've got a free download, a free live Q&A that we do, and some of our one-to-one coaching, group coaching, and balancing the body budget guide. Thanks for tuning in as always. I'm out.